Well, hello there, and welcome to the Dana Spencer Show, where we talk about solving problems, building relationships, quitting corporate, and the freedom to walk in our God given purpose. So, I hope you have the activity of your limbs. You've gotten outside and you are moving about. This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And I'm super glad today. And I know you're like, you said, super glad today because I have an amazing guest with me today. So let's give a warm, the Dana Spencer Show welcome to Coach Earnie Williams. Woo-hoo! Welcome to the show, Coach Earnie. How we feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm really feeling good. I'm excited for today's show and conversation. So thank you for having me for real. Let's go.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know you are super busy, so I am not going to belabor the point. So let's just jump in and get started. So tell us, as a little girl, what was it that you wanted to be when you grew up?
As a little girl, I don't know what age that I was like, hey, I want to be like my mom, right? And I got mom's jersey on, Fort Hays State. I don't know if y'all can see it. Let's see. Hey.
Hey!
I want to be like her and so she was a college basketball player. So I knew I wanted to play basketball. And that's I don't know how, but like that was what I wanted to do. I didn't know that she wasn't pro. I just said I wanted to be like her because I grew up watching her play basketball around her teammates, traveling, you know. So that was my thing. Basketball was it. I knew that from a very early age.
Wow. So you had that example because a lot of times, as athletes, some people see somebody who they want to be like and some people don't, but you were able to see like up close and personal with your mom. How cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed it. It was really cool. It was really, really fun, really cool.
So
A
where are you
blessing for
from?
sure. Sorry.
Where are you from?
So so my mom's family's from Gary, Indiana. My dad's from Chicago, so that area. But so I was born in Maryville, but I grew up in Kansas, like Western Kansas. It was when she was going to school, right? Or Hayes, Kansas, I would say. And then I we moved to Oklahoma, and I went to Sapulpa High School for high school basketball and AAU basketball. And then I moved and got a scholarship to the University of Texas to play ball. And she came along too. So, we were living here. I've still lived here in Austin. We've been here since 2005. I've been here since 2005.
So as a little girl, in terms of okay, now you're in middle school, you're playing in Oklahoma
hmm
basketball. What's the high school years like for you?
So I was in high school in Oklahoma. High school years for me, they were fun. So my mom was my coach. She was an assistant coach in high school. So yeah, all of my childhood, my mom was actually my basketball coach. And so when we moved to Oklahoma, it's right outside of Tulsa, a little small town. Um, she was the assistant coach, and another mom from my AAU team. I played with her daughter, and then the mom was the head coach. So my mom was we were able to move from Hayes to Oklahoma, and she got a job coaching. So high school was fun for me. It was, I would say easy, but like, I took care of my grades. Basketball was fun. Basketball was life, as some athletes say. And I competed hard. I trained hard and played with an AAU team. So like summer basketball team from Oklahoma City. And that was the reason we actually moved to Oklahoma because I got kind of recruited when I was in Kansas. We played against this AAU team from Oklahoma. We beat them. Mind you, I'm with a team. I'm the only black girl in Kansas, but we are the best of Kansas basketball players for our age group, right? And so we come across this Oklahoma team. They're coming down to Kansas, and the league was called MAYB. It might be going on now. Sports folks may have heard of it. They'll know. But we were in Hutchinson, Kansas for a championship game. My team beat the other team, the Oklahoma team. And then they were like, hey, we want Ernie to come with us to our AAU nationals, which is going to be in Utah, in Ogden, Utah. Like we were probably 13, 14 under and under. I went with them. This is off course, but I went to play with them in the championship it was 2 weeks of like a national tournament. Right. And so it's very different because I'm playing against New York teams, Washington, DC, Atlanta, all over. And so when in MIYB, when I was in Kansas, it was just Kansas teams, Nebraska, maybe some Texas, very not a lot of diversity, I guess you would say. Anyway, we went to Utah. We were there for 2 weeks playing games. 2 weeks. And we won. Mind you, I didn't know this team. I didn't know the girls. I actually was able to train with them for 2 weeks in Oklahoma City. Before we all drove, we literally team drove from Oklahoma on out to Utah, and we went and killed it. And so I loved AAU. And so that got me into high school ball. We moved to Oklahoma so I could compete with this AAU team to get me more ability to be seen and recruited. High school team was really, really good as well. We made it to state all 4 of my high school years, but we couldn't get it to the championship game. We get to the semifinals and we lose to a Oklahoma City team. Some city girls could go. But it was amazing. High school was really, really fun for me. It was just me and my mom, and she allowed me to flourish in the skills that I was really good at and continuing to be better at, and could make an opportunity to get to college.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack there. So
Yeah.
let's first start with AAU teams, because I'm of the mindset of so there's people who are on AAU teams, and obviously they are at a different level. And then there's the high school team. And then people who can afford to be on these AAU teams, and then they try out for the basketball team. And obviously they're going to be making the high school teams. So how critical is it for, as parents, to say, you know what, if I think my child has some skills, to make that sacrifice of getting them on an AAU team?
It's important. It's really important. The first thing I would say is just, kids are starting sports and really competitively at a really competitive level early, right? 5th, 6th grade. And the thing about 5th, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, you want the kids to win, but as parents, don't allow winning to be the goal. Don't talk about winning so much. Talk about progress. Talk about teamwork. Talk about them feeling very, very confident and having fun. Really, I had fun when I played basketball. My mom never talked about winning. She's like, make sure you do your best, because we're not finna do this and you're not here just, But I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, right? So that, I would say, that's the main big importance that I would love parents to know and put in the forefront. That gives them time to actually develop a passion for a sport or multiple sports. See what they like, see what they're good at without the pressure of winning, right? Get them used to sports and working hard and all that stuff. And then once you get to middle school, you start to kind of see, kids might lean towards 1, 2 sports. Naturally, as you go into high school, you're probably playing multiple sports because you're an athlete, but there's that one sport that they're probably the best in this, and they might have that. Now we're talking about AAU or select sports, and then we're looking into what's our real opportunity for college and to be seen in 1 or 2 sports. Some athletes can get scholarships in 2 sports, which is great. You have more options, right? But the biggest thing is from that young age is allow them to kind of control. Hey, I want to try this, mom. I want to try this, dad. Oh, I don't like it. Understand why they don't like it. Is it hard work? Okay, we might not have to quit just yet. Let's help them through that process. But if they don't like it, hey, Let's move on to the next thing. Help them find their powers, like their superpowers, what they like. I think that's really key. Did I answer the question?
Yes, you did answer the question. So, and then you said the word pressure that really stuck out. Is this too much pressure on 8 or 9 year olds, or is there some sort of wisdom that parents have to bring to the forefront so that they're really the ones making the decisions as opposed to allowing their children to make all of the decisions?
Yeah, there's some pressure there. There's some pressure to win, and you can see it. You can go into a lot of boys and girls AAU tournaments, and you can see the personas, personalities, and the attitudes of coaches, the attitudes of how they interact with referees. How does a coach, honestly, like how do the coaches interact with parents back and forth? Like the crazy stuff. When it gets crazy like that, it's winning. They're worried about winning and their kid looking good. Just support them on that journey, the young journey. Support them, and really do a good job vetting. Your coaches. If you coaches want to win, of course, but for me, if I was coaching fifth, even up to middle school, I want them to develop fundamentals and show progress. I don't care about losing by 30 points. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not embarrassed. I do want to know that we can learn from this, and that you didn't give up, and that you stayed locked in. We didn't start fighting on the court. Character, because when you get to high school and you start getting older, it's harder to develop that. It's really hard to develop that.
And I'm really seeing a lack of fundamentals.
Truly. Yeah.
And I look at some of these teams and I'm looking like it's just the fundamentals. Boxing out. It's fundamental. It's just fundamentals. How have coaches missed? And you said you have to learn at a younger age. So is it I'm a high school coach, and since they didn't get taught the fundamentals, then we just got to deal with what they have? Or do I look at these players and say, you know what? Let's go back to the fundamentals.
You gotta look at the fundamentals. You have to go back to the fundamentals. On top of that, yes, coaches, and as you get higher up as a coach, you do have to win, right? So yes, like it's a kind of a, I don't know, catch all, but yes, they have to win to keep or show progress again to keep their jobs, right, and to progress as a coach and getting better opportunities. But when you relay winning to the team in a certain way, like that's all it is, there's pressure, and players that are still amateur in their sport, that's a lot for them. So yes, with you and your coaching staff, we need to win. But what do we need to win? The fundamentals. We can't box out. We don't know what spot we're in when the ball is passed on shell drill, right? Old school shell drill, right? Our players don't know certain things, certain offensive sets. That's the fundamentals. You can't win if the terminology that you're saying, your team don't even know what you're talking about, have no clue. How are you going to win and make adjustments in the game when we're not on the same page? Terminology is fundamental. It's a lot to coach, but I think if you learn how to drill as players and coaches, drill fundamentals in different ways, be creative, make it fun, they'll start to trust you more because they'll start to grow, and they'll start to trust the process. Like, man, coach always talking about fundamentals, but we killed it on the fundamentals. That's how we won that defensive game, right? They'll start to understand that, and they'll start to buy in, and it'll be easier to get them to do things as a team, individually. And then parents at that level, I feel like you gain the respect of parents by telling them what you are going to do, what your plans are, and you just go to work. Don't try to placate parents, because nobody's ever happy. And naturally, every parent wants their kid to be the star and to get the playing time that they deserve. And they think their kid is giving 100, shooting 2,000 shots a week, and they're not. but they want they want their kid to have the ball in the hand. Okay, that's all right. But it's a lot. It's a lot to process.
Yeah, you dropped so many nuggets for coaches, and I hope they run that back to make sure that they got all of them nuggets that you was dropping for coaches.
Run
And
it back.
so you said that as far as coaches were concerned, your mom was a very vital role in, so she's your mom and your coach. And I,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep, let's talk about it.
That's where I was going, because I know my son, if I had been his coach, he probably would have quit playing. He wouldn't even wanted to play basketball if I had been his coach. What was that like, having, your mom as mom and coach?
Yeah, let's unpack this, because I know a lot of coaches that are parents and they're coaching their kids. That's a one relationship, and then there's parents that aren't coaches, but the kids feel like they're the coach, right? So there's a relationship stuff going on. So I loved having my mom as my coach growing up, for the most part. Like, I wouldn't say it was horrible at all. I trusted her, and she knew what she was doing. And when I listened, I was good. I got better. So, I mean, I was getting good results, right?
She had receipts.
I was getting receipts, buckets. And then, when I went to play for the AAU team in Oklahoma, and then my mom was my coach as well in high school. She was an assistant coach. We didn't start to butt heads, but I really, really enjoyed, at that point, I really enjoyed AAU because mom could be mom. Mom could be my cheerleader. She wasn't on the bench. Like, also being mom and yelling at me, because it's tough. It's a tough thing to separate when you are a parent, or when you're the player and your mom or dad is coaching you, right? And they're coaching you hard, right? And sometimes they're talking crazy to you, and you're just like, mom, dad, but we did have that understanding of, like, when she was mom, that was our relationship, and then there was the coaching relationship. But there was a moment as a sophomore or junior where I had to talk to her and just say, hey, I blacked out because I was scared, first of all, to say anything. I don't remember what I said, but here's the gist of it. I was feeling a little bit of pressure, and I was feeling like there was no coach turnoff. So after high school practice, and I'm a top level player, I was a McDonald's All-American and played for the USA team. And so when I mess up, a player like myself messes up, we know. I seen it. When the ball left my hands, I knew it was going to be a steal. I shouldn't have did it. Head coach yelling at me. My teammates like, shoot, right? All of those things, right? And then on top of that, mom yelling at me. Cool, we're at practice. That's fine. But when practice is over and we're in the car going home, that was tough for me. I was hearing it again. You should have did this and then what were you thinking? When I'm at home and it's dinner time, we talking about that layup I missed, right? And I was like, okay. I just kind of tried to talk to her about how that was making me feel, because we were still talking about basketball, and especially on the things that I would mess up on. We're still talking about that at home. And I don't know how I phrased it, but she did listen. I remember she did listen, and she tried to adjust. And also I was very receptive to her coaching while we're at practice or film, or, we're getting ready for our games. But then at home, she really did try to back up and just be us. We're goofy together. We're watching movies, like, be us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, and I loved it. It's almost like a turn off switch. Like, we're home. So I need you to be my mom right now and not my coach. So definitely those boundaries and establishing, when we're at the practice field, you can be coach all day long. But once we cross over to the house, I need you to be my mom.
Yes. And then I loved AAU because she was all mama. Like, mama, something wrong with my shoe. Something, go get some Gatorade. What, you know what I'm saying? I got my other coaches to yell at me now. And I love that. I got a break, I honestly got a break of her coaching me. And I think that was great going back into the high school season. Because I love coaching, being with my mom and coaching, her coaching me. Because she was a champion herself in college in AIA. So I knew she knows what she was talking about. And I know what she has done to put me in the position to play with such an awesome team and get recruited. But I noticed I was feeling a little pressure, but I wanted to preserve. I understood at that age, I'm like, this is not good for our relationship because I'm not going to want to talk to you. I'm already introverted. I'm going to shut down, you know?
So, and you said the word relationships a couple of times. And so when we think about, and I watch communication styles a lot, and I've addressed this with coaches where,
Oh my goodness.
coaches are like yelling at their players, and you have some players that they need that fight and that drive, and they need to be yelled at. And
Yeah.
then there are some people, I
Mm-hmm.
would put myself in this category. If you yell at me, I'm shutting down. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
hearing anything you say. My mama
Mm-hmm.
don't yell at me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So how important is it for coaches to realize, okay, this is the player that I need to have that relationship so they know how to communicate with each type of player?
Yeah. Oh goodness. It's so important. Um, it is so important. And I see coaches, they know the game, right? They are passionate and they want to win, they want success and all that stuff too. But it's like when you are telling a player how to make an adjustment and it's the correct adjustment, you have to really sit back and understand, why didn't they listen to me? Or why do they maybe listen to another coach and not me? Do they already have that built up um, relationship with that coach? How is that? Just kind of sit back and try to look at that player and not diagnose. I want to use a different word, but kind of see, like, when do they respond well and what do they respond well to? When they do the right things, when you're telling them to make an adjustment or to go do something, how was it relayed to them? Versus other kids. And then there's players like myself that I don't like to be I don't like to be yelled at and singled out. But I adjusted. I was very tough and I was able to adjust and just listen and go make the adjustment rather than, not make the adjustment because you said it in a demeaning way, right? And I'm the type of player where you can just tell me something once and I'll go fix it. You're not gonna have to come back and tell me again unless I really don't understand. It might be 2 times. you know. But yeah, and I dealt with that going overseas when I played professionally, having different men and mostly more men coaches, but different countries, different cultures. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But it's just really important that it's really important that coaches sit back and say, hey, what's my coaching style, my preferred coaching style, communication style in general, and then when stuff gets heated in the game. How do you elevate? And then what is my point guard, for example, what's their coaching style? How do they talk to other people? You just got to watch and really understand that how you coach players is not necessarily how they would prefer you to coach them. But sometimes they're not going to tell you that, because as coaches sometimes we don't allow players to feel like, hey coach, how you said this and that when I messed up, it didn't feel good. How many coaches have had players come to tell them that in a calm way, but they've opened that up for them to say, hey, you can come talk to me, tell me about anything, like that's just not open. So kids don't know how to communicate. And that leads into not having that ability to communicate with your coach about how you feel. Maybe you're still wrong as a player. You might be wrong, but the ability to come to your coach and feel free enough, confident enough, safe enough to say something like that helps us go lead other people, go lead the team.
So, what if there are players out there who they feel like they really need to have a conversation with their coach? What are some steps? Because maybe they are introverted. The coach has been yelling at them and they've been trying to make the adjustments, but they just can't get past the yelling. So sounds like you were coachable. So kudos to you for being coachable, that you were
Yeah.
able to listen past the delivery.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some tips that you would suggest to those people out there? Like, man, she's right. I need to have a conversation with Coach. What are a couple of pointers that you could suggest to them as to how to approach that conversation?
Yeah. I would first say, if there was a moment, let's say there was a moment in practice that, or it's something that always happens, and they say things certain way, and you don't really like it. It just doesn't make you feel confident and ready to go execute the next play. It just kind of takes away from your energy. I would say look at the adjustment. What did they tell you to do? Right? Is it correct? Does it make sense? And I would lead with that first. So, hey, coach, the correction that you told me to do the other day, I just want to get more clarity around that first before you get into like how you feel. Make sure coach knows that you want to be more clear about what they're wanting from you, and you want to deliver first, right? You want to make those adjustments. After you kind of get through that in the conversation, you kind of just have to open up and go in. So, coach, I understand now. Now I understand better, why you kind of yelled at me at that moment. So I was doing XYZ and you want me to do XYZ. Okay, I understand that. And then here's your end. You kind of lowered that fence, that gate with coach. They know that you understand why they was getting on you, but you have to just kind of go into it and say, hey, coach, sometimes I feel however you feel when you relay messages in that way. I understand what you were saying, but sometimes it just doesn't make me feel confident, right? And relay, how does it take away from you wanting to build a relationship with them? How does it take away from you wanting to continue playing that very moment? I don't feel confident anymore, kind of when you have that tone. But I do keep going back. I do understand what you were saying. And it's kind of like you have to practice it. It's tough. It's really a vulnerable position to be in because you don't know how your coach is going to react. But you have to do that, and you have to then put the ball in a coach's coach's hands to connect back with you. As an athlete, for me, I've done my job on it because I came to get more clarity around what my job is and what you're asking for. But also, I need something from you too for me to feel really good into going to make those adjustments, especially in the heat of the game when we have 3 seconds left and we got a timeout. You have to know, we have to build that trust. And you got to know as a coach, I'm taking away from this player when, all they need for me to do is change my tone a little bit, put my arm around them like, hey, I believe in you. When I say, hey, you're doing this, I need you to do this. That's it. Okay, coach, I got it. Instead of, you ain't doing it. I told you that I've been telling you this for the last 4 weeks. You're still not doing it. Get somebody else in here. Who wants to go play after that? When you could have just told me what you needed for me to do and gave me a little pat on the back and like, you got this. You have to build athletes up. Like even me, I would have rather had coaches build me up more. So I was more confident because you need to feel like my coaches believe in me when I don't believe in myself, because I usually score 20 points. I can't get past 8 in the last 3-4 games. You get in your slump. How do you get your players out? You just keep you keep feeding them belief until they can believe and they go just play. That confidence is a tough thing. You have to work on it on your own as a player, but we do need help from coaches, and it's just that constant belief. And maybe we have to get, when we're low, you have to just give us more. Like I don't know why you tripping. You're gonna make that shot. Keep on. You missed 3. That's fine. Let's go. Work. Don't worry about it. Like make it not like a big deal, so we don't make it a big deal. It's crazy psychology. It's just craziness.
Yeah, clarity and confidence is what I
Whew,
heard. Like that, those are
very
the big things. And to your point, you're thinking, oh, you're a superstar player. You don't need, confidence. You have confidence in yourself, but it
no.
sounds like that's not true.
I need it. Because I am a great player, and my goals are so high. I know what I'm good at, and I know in my head I'm like, I need to do this tonight. I can't have no days off, no the second off, right? The pressure's already there.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then not to mention if we're Texas and we getting ready to play Baylor or OU.
yes. Yeah. That is so good. Such good advice. Such good advice. So you talked a lot about your mom, right? And
Yeah.
your mom being your coach. And so what about your dad? You said your dad was from Chicago. And
Mm-hmm.
so was he ever in the stands? Where was your dad at in the picture?
No. I it was just me and my mom. Two peas in the pod, and I didn't get a chance to grow up with him or family. His side of the family. And what's interesting is like during a little bit before COVID and the shutdown, and people had to go home to work. I had weirdly got in contact with him. Um, it was a really weird story. My mom, I was on her phone and I was doing something on Facebook, and she didn't have Messenger downloaded. And so I downloaded Messenger, and then it popped up as a missed call from my dad a year ago. So like maybe 2018. And this is 2019, I think. And I was like, Mom, is that dad? He called you. And so that day I went to try to find his profile on Facebook, and I found it, but I don't know if I found it, but I found my cousin, Lawan. And I messaged him and I was like, hey, do you know my dad? And we kind of messaged back and forth, and then he called me. And it was like, yeah, I know him, that's my uncle. Who are you? I was like, I'm his oldest girl. And so from there, like he got off the phone. He was cool, like he wasn't weird. It was a weird situation, but he got off the phone. He was like, let me see if I can contact him. And my dad called me, and we had like maybe a 10-minute conversation. My mom was there. Just, I don't know, it's weird. It's the first time I've ever talked to him, anybody from the family. And then, maybe later that week I got on the phone and connected to my aunt, his only sister, and then my grandmother. I'm really, my mom's parents passed when she was 21, 20, while she was at college in Hayes, Kansas. And so I never really got to meet them and grow up with them either. And so to know, I kind of always wondered, like, am I going to get to meet grandparents or a grandparent, right? And my dad and his family. And I did. And I was so happy that she is spunky. She's crazy. She's 71, and I've got some time with her. That's very, very exciting to me, and it's a vulnerable position to be one of the older kids in the family, but you have to. Then nobody knows you. So fast forward through COVID, that was trouble. It was not trouble, but it was hard to even travel, right? And so I didn't meet him till 20. I met my grandmother and her other kids in the Christmas of 2021. I went to Chicago, and I was like, well, my mom had passed. Actually, she passed in July 21 of 2021, and at Christmas I was like, okay, let's just step out here, and go visit family. Hold on, this cat, stop it. Go visit family. And so I met my grandmother, and I met my aunt. I met my kind of first cousins that I probably would have grew up with, if I was able to go back and forth to Chicago for holidays, or even we just lived there. But I didn't get to meet my dad. I didn't get to meet him until maybe Juneteenth barbecue that I went back for that year. So like the 6 months later. And we talked for a little bit, not very long. And then, he passed. Unfortunately, he passed last November. October, November, December, yeah. And so it's been a rough last 3-4 years, and I've just been trying to navigate it as best as I can with therapy and um trying to turn into the person that I need to be healthy, be happy, and not have any regrets. Like I want to build I want to build a relationship with my family. And so, it just takes some time. It's a lot to unpack, but therapy is what got me through.
Right. So I've talked to athletes and they talk about the importance of having family in the stands, right?
Yes.
And I with AAU, I'm sure a lot of players had both their parents there, and their dads and their moms, and everybody. So I mean, what was that like for you? Not having your dad in the stands to support and encourage you, especially since you were such a good player. You're
Mhm.
not like this regular, just average, barely got a
Yeah.
scholarship, all American, you know what I'm saying, winning
Yeah.
championships, all this, and
Yeah.
not having your dad in the stands.
You know, um, at some points in my high school career, college career and pro, I didn't think about it. Um,
Mm,
I remember though when I did kind of sometimes randomly just think about it, I would get emotional. So I would say it just felt like there was something missing. But at the same time, I felt like I had enough support. So my mom she was always there. My mom was always there. She's at every game, even when I was hurt, wasn't going to play. My mom, man, like she was that parent that was at everything, sports. She was at recitals and choir stuff, all the stuff that she put me in. She was there. She showed up. And so a lot of time, most of the time, I felt like as long as I saw her, and maybe she would bring her friends and stuff like that, I I felt supported. you know but I will say this. I tell some of my friends this, like when I was growing up in elementary school, either fourth, let's say fourth, fifth grade, um we would have field day. We would have days where parents would come in and we just play games. There's like little different games inside and outside. And so usually you would see mom and dad, right? I was old enough to understand like this mom and dad, right? That's a family. And I would get sad. And so I did have like dreams of like being in class, and they call my name on the intercom, come to the office. I knew I wasn't in trouble because I wasn't never in trouble. I ain't do nothing. So I would dream of like they call me to the office, and I'm like, now I was like, dang, it's gonna be a black man there. It's not my, I know it's gonna be my dad. I don't know what he looks like. I know that's gonna be my dad. It's gotta be my dad. I had that dream and thought like I would daydream in class sometimes, and that was a dream. It was kind of weird, but I did miss him and feel like, dang, why? Like, where is he and who is he and why doesn't he want to be in my life? I did have those moments, and so that was tough. But I would say I don't think it stopped me from it. There's some trauma there, but I don't think it stopped me from I don't know, being great and being my best and really appreciating my mom. That's my road dog. That's my girl.
right, right.
Yeah, we were
So
best friends.
in terms of being in a relationship now, do you feel like, so are you married or single now?
Single.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so I had a guy once tell me that I put up a wall, right?
Hmm.
And I don't let anybody in my circle. And then
Yeah.
I feel like there's two responses to not growing up with your dad. This is my
Hmm.
opinion. The one response is you throw up this wall and it's really, really difficult for anybody to get over the wall.
Hmm.
And then that's one version. And then there's another version where um, women are just in and out of relationships, longing for that relationship that they did not have with their dad. So
Yeah.
do you feel like either one of those are you, or what do you feel like your response has been as it relates to having a relationship as an adult?
Yeah, that's a really good question because it wasn't until my mom passed and then I kind of met my dad and the family and was trying to build a relationship with him. And then he passed recently. On that journey with the therapist, I did feel like, oh, okay. So yeah, I did miss him and I did want him to be in my life. So I think for me in past relationships, there's been, I don't think I would put up walls, but like if I got hurt, yes, I put up the wall. Boy, that thing go up quick. Yes, but I was very loving and wanting love, and so I feel there's relationships I can look back on, and they weren't the best for me, and I stayed in them thinking that they would change. Like it's gonna get better. I would say that was my thing. Staying too long, you know, um, and not having boundaries, but because I just wanted love from this person, even if it was like, hey, it's not a good relationship, or it's run its course and now it's not healthy.
Yeah. So now you're making me want to tip. We're going to tip into the flight assessment since I feel like you went there. So in
Let's
terms of,
go.
yeah, in terms of the flight assessment, and it's a behavioral preference in four
Mm-hmm.
key areas. And, we think about, behavioral preference of a pilot, a flight attendant, air traffic controller, and a grounds crew. I think I
Yeah.
heard what you are, but what is your
What
strength?
you got? What you got first?
I think it's grounds crew. I think it's grounds
It
crew.
is. I'm very high grounds crew and also very high air traffic controller. My grounds crew is like a couple more points higher though. And in there, yeah, my gray bar is very it's very short. Yep, my adaptive was very short in both of those.
You know what you said in order for me to think to catch it?
What? What was that?
That you stayed in the relationship too long.
Yes. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
that's one of the traits of grounds crew is
Mm.
staying in the relationship so that sometimes it becomes a fault, almost like an equipment of too much instead of me. I'm out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
yeah. And if you want more on the flight assessment, get with either one of us because we both are extreme execution certified
Oh yeah,
coaches. And you'll
definitely.
know more of what we're talking about with that. So yeah, I feel like
That's
so
good. That's really good, Dana. And it's like that loyalty piece of the grounds crew to a fault, exactly like you said it. Yeah. And I was
yeah.
yeah, that was a struggle bus for me to figure that out. So, yep.
All right.
Mm-mm-mm.
So it's college. You're about to graduate, and are you believe that you're going to get drafted, or what is your senior year of college look like?
Senior year of college, so going into overseas. Yeah. You know, senior year of college was a struggle. It was a mental struggle, honestly. There was for I think I put the pressure on myself, but like my goal was always to become pro, right? Once I figured out there was a WNBA and there was pro, right? I was like, yeah, I just want to play at the highest level. What's the highest level for women's basketball? That was always my goal. And so senior year, this WNBA goal is like a gray cloud over me. It's causing me stress. And so I feel like I'm not as confident as I was sophomore year, junior year, even freshman year. So my confidence is really, really up and down. It's not that higher level and consistent for me. And really what's crazy, I shot the worst free throw percentage of my college career as a senior. It came out, so my my confidence issues came out when it was time to shoot free throws. I didn't want to get fouled. It was the craziest thing. I did not want to get fouled, so I had to go shoot free throws. And for whatever reason, really, really good free throw shooter, at least 80% plus. I would miss it. I would miss both, or I would miss that one and one, the front end to get the second one. I would miss it. Um, but I don't know why. I just hated. That moment. I hated going to shoot. It's weird. So I started to do some therapy actually in senior year, just for like performance and figuring out what's the anxiety, what's going on. But I think the anxiety was for me like having to play really well and not be injured. Because the thing about me, what that people when recruiters were saying is, oh, she's injury prone. And so that loomed in my head. Because I had injuries. So I had ACL tear as a high school freshman, ACL tear as a college freshman, and almost every summer I had to sit out for the summer and had a knee scope or a shoulder injury, something to do. But I never missed a season. It was the summers. And so that's on your resume, are they healthy? And so I wasn't, but I was a good player, great player. And so I was struggling with, are they even going to look at me? Am I going to? And so it made me not focus on just being me and playing my butt off, even though I might have had injuries in the past, you know? So that was really struggle for me senior year in college. But it didn't stop me from figuring out what was next. Maybe WNBA, I might not get an opportunity to go to a camp or first round draft pick, but I did learn too, oh, you can play overseas in Europe. I'm like, dope. So I remember the Final Four was in San Antonio, and usually at every Final Four, they have these combines for women's basketball players to go showcase your skills. There's agents there from Europe. There's agents there and scouts and stuff for even WNBA. And so you'll go 2 days, 3 days, go play, do drills, and just play and pick up. And I was able to get an agent, and he helped me get my first contract and opportunity to go play in Portugal. And so I went to play in Portugal after my senior college season. So that was the start of 8 years, and I almost didn't even go too. I almost didn't even go to Portugal because I had something going on with my knee. Always.
So, and don't skate over. Were you in the Final Four? Did you skate over?
No. My team wasn't at the no. We weren't at the Final Four, but the Final Four was just close. It was in San Antonio. We're in Austin, and so yeah, I went to the combine they had there. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're about to go to Portugal, which different culture.
Yep.
Maybe different language, just
for sure.
different. So how do you approach that? Do you start researching about Portugal? How do you get your mindset ready to jump on that plane and go to Portugal?
Yeah. So I'm the analytical type. I'm trying to get on Google and see what's Portugal, where is it, how long is the flight, what do I need, what kind of food they got, all the things. I'm gonna get my information. Air traffic controller here. So that's exactly what I did. And also what I did and what I advise college players and other pros to do is go on Facebook. And so there's a website called Eurobasket for basketball, and you can see the men's and women's teams from every country, every level of league within the country. So I went to the country, and then I went to the possible team that I was going to play for, and I looked up who were there other Americans that have played for them the last 1-2 years. And I just kind of messaged them on Facebook, and I got some answers back, and they kind of told me their experience and like how it was playing for the league, for the club. They call them clubs instead of like teams or organizations, but that's what I did every year moving forward. And so, I take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes, your experience is not going to be the same as someone else's, but you just want to know, hey, what should I look forward to with this team? What should I have on my radar? So I did that, and then I was nursing a little, it was an adductor pull, but it was hurting my knee, on my right knee, and so I was like, I don't even know if I should even go. It's not feeling right. I need a little bit more time to heal. And then my mom was like, you can always come home. Like, if it doesn't work out, you can always come home and get healthy. And so she was like, go try it out and see how it is. Same thing she did with me in Texas. I wasn't looking at Texas. She was like, well, don't forget, Texas be winning. They got a tradition. I was like, okay, let me look at him. She had it all in plan. She's trying to get down to Texas. But I did the same thing. I took a chance, and I went for my dreams, I went for my dreams and I was like, okay, if it doesn't work out, that's fine. We'll figure it out. I had the time of my life. I loved it. My first roommate, American roommate, Kiva. She's actually from St. Lucia, but she played at San Diego, in California. We had so much fun. Um, and she's one of my oldest friends from playing basketball. Really good connection, and that's what I love, that I took the chance, because I have many people that I have relationships with and friendships with just from being overseas with them. And maybe we even played against each other, but we connected. And so it was really, really fun. Really, really fun.
What's the best experience that you had from playing overseas with all those different countries? What's the best experience?
I would say my favorite place to play was Sweden because of the total experience. So, you go to a country, and even as an African American and American, right? And so a lot of these countries might not have a lot of black people, period. Or even just African people. So there's that. And then I'll dress a little bit more masculine. So there's that layer to it. But also there's the language, there's the culture. The language was Swedish, but what's cool about Sweden is they also learn English and can speak English very, very well. So navigating that, just going to the store, asking for butter and not being confused for 20 minutes was great. That was great. And then also my teammates were amazing, loving, welcoming. And then the parents of the girls' family, their families were very welcoming. Come over for dinner. They're taking care of us. And this was an awesome team. I had it was 2 or 3 Americans and then 2 other, they called them Bosmans, or other foreigners that weren't Swedish. They weren't American either. We had a great team. I love all of my teammates. And so sometimes things just don't work out like that, where the back office, the president, the managers of the team care about you as people and not just as players that are here to help us win. You feel that, you feel sometimes how they take care of you versus when you win on the road or you lose on the road. You might have to get your own dinner when we lose, but shoot, if we win and we got a 6-hour drive back, we about to get go have a great dinner. They passing out wine if we win, and then it's totally different if we lose by 1, but we played our butts off. So I didn't have that experience, win or lose, with Sweden. In Sweden with the team, I was taken care of. We were taken care of, and so I always say Sweden was my favorite. My favorite.
So it's your last season of pro ball. What does that look like? How do you transition to, what, it's time to go back, or it's time to hang up my shoes? What does that look like?
Drama. It's terrible because I wasn't ready to hang up nothing. So my story is my last year actually playing. Yeah, so my last year I had an opportunity to play in Romania for the second time. It was a really, really, really good team. It was about an hour from Bucharest, so we were close enough to go shop there, go, be in the bigger city. But again, injuries they've plagued my career, and so I've navigated that a lot. And so my body was just at the point in time is like, hey, you're done. And I think I had tore something in my knee and I didn't know it, and was trying to play with it, was trying to heal it, but it was just not getting better. And so I actually got let go of that team. My cat here everywhere. I got let go of that team. And before I left, I went to a doctor. I set it up myself. These are the things you have to do on your own sometimes when teams really don't take actual care of you. I paid for my MRI, which was not as bad as paying for it in the States, luckily. So I took my MRI. I brought it back home with me to the States. And what's crazy, I was going in for a PRP shot or kind of procedure, and which is just, have you heard of that? It's just when they take your blood and they get all the good stuff from your own blood and they kind of reinsert it back into certain positions in your joints just for natural healing. And the doctor was actually Romanian. So I was like, ooh, cool. They gave me the report in Romanian. So I'm like, let me take it to him. And he was like, this says that your ACL is torn. I was like, what? And so, yeah, from there, it was just that moment of trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I didn't want to go back through another surgery and all the things to get back into playing. So I decided to put the shoes up. And it was hard because that was really tough. It wasn't my decision. I was getting to the point in my career where I was smarter, I was more efficient, and I was figuring out how to do the same amount of damage in half the time, half the energy, by being just smarter, and pacing myself. And I was excited about that, and excited about continuing to play a couple more years in different countries, and for teams that were already, let's say, top 3, top 4, getting some of those better chances to win a Euro Cup, to win some type of championship within a country. I didn't get that. I feel like it's taken away from me, and you work so hard and you struggle so much with the injuries and trying to figure out what to do. I was just sad. It was sad. And so financially, I didn't make a lot of money, but I also didn't have the financial literacy that I wish I had to save, to learn investing, to even take those 8 years and learn other skills while I was over there. I had a computer science degree from University of Texas, but I was just so focused on my sport, which is great and normal, but we had a lot of time outside of 5-6 hours of practice. I still had some time to learn how to code, to learn website development, to something. And I didn't do it. And that's why I tell players now, if you're going overseas, don't waste the extra time you have. Learn more skills and make more money while you're making money over there and getting everything paid for. Just so I didn't hear that information, but yeah, I wish I would have done that. And then I don't know where else I was going, but yeah, it was a struggle bus. And when I came home, I went right into AAU coaching, and I didn't give myself time to heal that and like really grieve it, because that was my goal since a little girl. I wanted to play basketball. That's what I've been working for and training for and traveling here and there and all the things. And then I didn't prepare for retirement, and then it was just taken from me, So it was a heartbreak. First heartbreak, not first heartbreak, but it was a really big heartbreak.
So, do you have some tips for those on how to prepare for retirement? Because you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know when your ACL is going to tear. Or you don't know when they're going to cut you from the team. So, do you have to always be mentally prepared for that, or is it one of those things that you just wait until it happens, then you deal with it?
I think you do have to always be prepared for it, and you have to know that it's a reality. I don't care if you're a rookie, your first season, second season, there might be an injury that might not allow you to play for 2-3 years, or your body's just like, yeah, we're done. So having that realization and understanding, but then going at your sport hard, try to make as much money as you can in your contracts, develop your skills to make more money there, but also know that you should be making more money, can be making more money some type of way while you're over there, outside of practice, outside of all the things we have to do. We do have time. So anybody that's overseas, you have time, an hour, 2 hours to put towards learning a skill. Number one, I would learn another language. I would learn another language. There's so many jobs that I've been trying to get. Last year I was trying to get into tech, and there's so many jobs I ran across where if you knew a language, you had the upper hand. You had a second language, right? If you knew a certain second language, Spanish, Italian, Japanese, whatever, that puts you in like a different, when you know a different language, it puts you in a different position with employers. Even if they may say you don't have enough experience, but hey, this person knows this language. We're just happening to open an office in so and so. You never know, you know, you never know. So also, if you like to travel the world, I just think it's a good idea too. If you're going to be somewhere more than 3-4 months, just make it easier on yourself by learning how to communicate, small gestures, right? Going around the town asking about where to do this and how to do that. Learn the language. Second, yes, develop more skills. Either develop skills of what your college degree was in, or figure out, in today's age, I would figure out how to start making money online. Because like YouTube wasn't that popping when I was overseas, and you couldn't just there's so many things you can make a business out of on a keyboard if you have Wi-Fi. You can build a newsletter. You can build a website. You can build websites, right? It's a lot of creative stuff. You can do social media posting. You can make some money contacting the other Americans or players in the same league and be like, hey, pay me $500 a month so I'll give you 30 posts per day. I'll look at your game film and I'll chop some good clips up. What? Are you kidding me? In today's age, what athlete isn't going to say like, sure? Because they're making enough money to do that, right? So like that's just an idea. There's so many ways, but also the financial literacy. Start reading books. Start listening to podcasts from the ground up. Saving money. Now what to do with the money? So you got to figure out how to make more money. This is what I wish I knew. Making more money. Let's save it. Don't spend so much of it away, and then let's multiply it, right? With real estate, I love real estate. So Dana can teach y'all real estate game, right? Start investing. Think about this, Dana, man. What if I had 8 years overseas? I'm like, what if me and my mom could have went half on one property a year, had it cash flow. When I had to retire, we would have 8 properties. Yep. I don't care if it's one single family home or a duplex. We'd have 8 properties. I wouldn't be so stressed on finances, right? And that's the main thing with retiring, period, especially retiring when you're not ready. That's what's going to help you guys. Having businesses that are running for you, or having a skill, high-paying skill in tech, or creating something, investing, or learn something so well you can start to teach it and create courses, and it just multiplies. But yeah. I know this is what I would have done, and you guys can do it. You should do it. Take the stress off you. It's the biggest stress is finances. Take that off of you.
You just reignited like me needing to do more to help athletes with the importance of investing in real estate. Like you just put an exclamation point on it.
Let's talk about it. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And to your point of just buying one property a year would not have hurt you while you were in it, right?
No.
And after 8 years later to see, I have a portfolio of 8 properties that you have control over.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm not gonna put salt on your wound. I'm not gonna go there.
I'm still trying to heal. I'm like, 8 years, I ain't do nothing. Dang, what was I doing? Netflix and chilling. That's it. Oh, I didn't even get no Netflix stock as much as I was watching them.
I just told a group of 8th graders that. I promise you. And it was where I'm in the middle of helping a nonprofit. And we're in the middle school here locally. And I told the young ladies, I was like, what is it that you use? You buying Jordans, you got Nike, you got this. What products do you use? I said, I challenge you to research that stock and get some of that stock so you can say, I own part of Nike. I own part of whatever it is that you're using all the time. So that you are a producer and not just a consumer.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So what are you doing now? Tell us what you're doing now.
Man, I'm doing too much. No. So now, listen, I was last year, I was trying to get back into tech. I spent the whole year trying to study and prepare for like cybersecurity, right? Because I really like tech, computer science background, but it is very hard to get in. Even entry level, it was tough to get in. Um, and then even now it's tough because there's a layoff situation in tech, and
Mm-hmm.
I think stuff's going crazy because of the election year. And so I'm not looking at um tech as far as corporate side. But last year, also what I started to do is do more digital marketing type of online studying, right? Because we have podcasts and I do a lot of marketing on our own for our own businesses. And I'm like, this is kind of fun. So I went more into that, studying SEO and website building. And so now I actually started a digital marketing agency called Magic Savvy Media. And so I'm learning AI. I love AI, right? Use a lot of AI stuff to cut down on the editing and the cutting reels and stuff. Woo! Because I was not doing my own social media because it took so long. But when AI hit and I started paying attention to ChatGPT, I don't like writing, but I'll be writing now. ChatGPT got me lit. I feel confident. I'm like, I can get this done. So using a lot of those automations and AI things for business owners. And so what I want to do is just help other business owners take that off their plate, like their social media, website building, helping them get Google reviews, just different things to accelerate their and maintain their digital presence. And so, yeah, that's a number of things, but there's paid ads, there's website building, SEO, blog writing. People are creating newsletters. As a business, and they're selling those after building up the subscribers to the newsletter. They're selling those in 1 or 2 years for millions of dollars. It's craziness. It's craziness. I'll have to send you this podcast I listened to, but this man he did like either 8 months or 12 months of some type of newsletter, once a week newsletter, and had a bunch of subscribers, and he was able to sell the website. It was a newsletter, but I think he like created it on the website. But I was like, what? They call it keyboard money, y'all. Keyboard money.
Yeah. Let's go on out there and make that keyboard money, and then you can take that keyboard money and invest it in real estate so you can have some passive income and not have to work at the keyboard so hard.
Yeah. Come on now.
All right. So, Coach Earnie, if we were going to put a bow on this conversation, what is it that you would want the athletes, the coaches, the moms, what is it that you would want people to walk away with?
Well, I think it's different for each people that we talked about. So let's talk about parents of athletes, especially the young ones, and even high school and college. Be their number one fan first. Support them, be their number one fan first, and really, really just feed them confidence. Help them build confidence. The confidence to try over and over, the confidence to be unsure about something, but trust themselves. If that makes sense, building a new skill in basketball, right? Playing a new position in basketball. They don't know what's going on, but move into that confidently. I would say to sports coaches, get with Dana and you need to do a flight assessment. First of all, let's just do that. Let's see, have some more, be open. I know you've been coaching for a lot of years. You know what you're doing, but let's see if we can get better at communication just a little bit and get a flight assessment, and then get your other coaches a flight assessment. But really understand what are your coaching styles, your communication style, and then really understand the other personality types of how they would mesh with you and sometimes how they will not. And just open your mind to like, okay, who are those players that are different? Who are those coaches that are different from me? How can I key in and really have a better visual of our communication. Is it working? I would say that for coaches. Um, players at all levels, let's see, continue. So this is what helped me. My mindset was an underdog. And I was not, I would tell people I feel like an underdog, but being a McDonald's All-American is top 24 in this, in the US, right? In Canada, is like, you're not an underdog. But I kept that mentality of like, it was weird. I knew I was good, but I didn't let being good hype me up. I was always like, there's somebody better than me. I got to keep working. How do I stay humble? How do I continue to be hungry? How can I just get better and be more consistent, right? Find for athletes, I always say, find your 1 to 3 things that you know, you go to any gym, that's what you're going to do and bring to any team, any set of 5 players you're going to play with. Really understand what that is, your superpowers in your sport, right? And really get good at those. From a 1 to 10, 10 is like you're just the best at it, right? Make sure you're at that 7, 8 range and getting it up to a 10. Those other skills that you're not that good at, I would spend a little bit time getting those to a 6, 7, maybe. You just don't want those to be liabilities and keep you on the bench. Because if your defense is at a 3, maybe even a 5, that might keep you on the bench, even though you got some 7, 8, type of skills. Get those liabilities up above 5, 6, 7, right? And so you can hide them, but it won't be such a it won't be a liability for you to be on the bench or not be able to give as much value to your team as you want. And then for the older athletes, y'all going into pro and just also graduating, find a high-paying skill. Develop high-paying skills. Do your best to find a high-paying job where you can make a lot of income, and then figure out how to keep most of that income. Learn about taxes, because you got a business partner you ain't even know about. You ain't agreed to nothing. Listen, I didn't know about taxes going overseas. I'm like, taxes? Who? Where? Why? See, you have to, and this is the stuff we have to learn, because we're not actually going to get it in college. I went to a great school. I knew nothing about taxes. I knew nothing about budgeting and really no financial literacy. You have to want to get this early in your 20s. I'm 36, and so I'm working on it now. I've been feeding my brain with this podcast, different podcasts and books, which is great. But make the most amount of money you can, save the most amount of money you can, learn about taxes, but also, like what Dana's doing is real estate investing. Figure out how to invest that money so that it can become passive, right? Multiply your money, and then keep doing it. Get really good at those investments and stack and just keep going. Keep being open to things that are going to help you live the lifestyle that you want to live. Allow you freedom of health and medical. Like, I would have been able to, for example, and I'll close it up, but I would, for example, if I had more money and I had more high paying skills that I was developing overseas, I would have more money for better recovery, better, let's say if I wanted to go to a specific regenerative doctor that could do a surgery, but they had some regenerative thing, or it wasn't even a surgery, I would have options for myself as a player. I didn't really have options because I had like a basic medical, or had whatever medical Blue Cross Blue Shield will give me and say, hey, whoever's in your area. No, I want the best because I'm trying to play. I'm trying to keep my knees. I want to have the best, but you have to afford those type of doctors because they're private. But it's like LeBron, he spends millions of dollars on his body. He has it, but it's like for us at a lower level, you need to make some money just for that. And you need to think about it, right? You have to be thinking about those things and thinking about longevity and wealth and legacy and all that stuff. Just taking care of your people, your family. It's a lot. I've learned so much after, and it's like, oh, we got to tell these babies. Got to tell these athletes. I'm so excited about that because I can tell you what I didn't do, because I got a lot of it.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You couldn't have wrapped it up so any better than that. And it just, you just magnified the need for me to continue to do what I'm doing, to bring
Yeah.
people on and to just let athletes know, hey, don't waste time, right? Do
Yeah,
not waste time.
that's
Use,
exactly right.
I know you work hard at your skills, but the small pockets of time that you do have, listen to podcasts, pick up some books and read and get the
Yeah.
knowledge that you need in order to make your money make money. So until
Yes.
next time, thank you so much, Coach Earnie, for joining us on the Dana Spencer Show. Until next time, make money, make money.
Make money, make money. Peace.